The really important thing about the conference at Annapolis is that it has launched a process with a timetable, namely 2008, and not to talk about some of the issues, but to resolve all the core issues between Israel and Palestine. And that is it's a huge undertaking, it's a very big challenge. And of course, there'll be lots of people be skeptical because of all the failures in the past. But actually, this is a very strong statement and commitment by both the Israelis and the Palestinians, and the President of the United States has put the weight of the US behind it. So, there's a lot that's got to happen now, but it's a very strong and important beginning.
Let me ask you about the core issues that have divided Israelis and Palestinians for so long, where it seems like on either side there really hasn't been either the willingness or the ability to achieve compromise. One of those is Jerusalem. It seems like on the one hand, from the Israeli side, we hear there's no way that city can ever be divided. Palestinians are adamant that East Jerusalem has to be their capital. How do you even begin to achieve compromise on issues like Jerusalem?
Do you know, one of the things I learned when I did the Northern Ireland peace process is that things that seem absolutely irresolvable, things that where the parties just, you think that can't be done, actually can be done if the will is there and some hope and credibility comes back in the process. So, it's not for me to negotiate the issue of Jerusalem here, but I don't believe if you get everything else working, it will be impossible to find a way through.
Now, you mentioned Northern Ireland, and this was a great success achieving peace in that part of the world after so many decades of bad blood between two communities. But the IRA, which was considered a terrorist group that nobody could ever talk to, was then embraced in the end. Why not do the same with Hamas? What is the difference?
The difference is very simple. When we actually got the Sinn Féin political party associated with the IRA into the peace process, we did so on the basis that certain principles were accepted. And let me make it very clear, it's not that people are saying we will never contemplate dealing with Hamas. Hamas can be dealt with, provided that they accept the two principles of the gateway into the process. Number one, there should be two states. So Israel's got a right to exist.
They've implicitly said that they would accept two states, though.
Well,
it almost feels like in the Arab world, you often hear people saying, well, the minute they make one step forward, you'll find somebody on the other side of the fence saying they're not willing to talk, and that hardens them more.
And that's very familiar to me as well from the Northern Ireland situation. But, in the end, it's not enough for it to be implicit. I mean, if you're an Israeli and you're about to negotiate a state with someone and someone says, well, I can't really say I do agree with it, but nonetheless, if you read carefully what I say, somewhere down in the details of it, you might find what you want. You've got to negotiate on a clear basis.
Can I ask you now finally what comes next? Because there are several talks scheduled, conferences, more summits, talks about more talks. How confident are you that by the end of 2008, as was announced in this joint understanding between the two parties, that by the end of 2008, really there will be a deal?
Look, you'd be pretty crazy after all the past few decades to sit here and say, oh, it's a certainty. I think it is a realistic possibility now. And
more so than in 91 or 93 or?
Yes, strangely I do, because I think there is different Palestinian leadership, and that is important. I think the region as a whole has got a different view of this. I think the Arab world really wants this settled and solved now. It doesn't want to play with the issue. And because I think that this president has now set a timeline and launched a process to resolve all the core issues. And I think you will find, and Condi Rice has actually been doing a great job in pushing this forward. I think you will find this administration gets behind this and really puts an immense amount of effort and determination into it.
But this administration is gone in 13 months.
Yeah, but I concluded the Northern Ireland deal the month before I left. Sometimes the fact that the president or a prime minister is going is an incentive for people to realize that it'll then take them a long time to work in with the new people. So if people want to make the deal, and you can only ever make these deals if the two parties involved really want to do it. But if they do really want to do it, and I'm convinced they do, this is the best chance they've got.